Ready to stop spinning your wheels and start moving your business forward? You're in the right place. On each episode of Accelerate to Achieve, we'll discuss a crucial step in the journey, offering tips and advice that you can apply immediately within your own company. From financial management to customer success to digital transformation, we'll cover it all while providing leadership lessons from top industry insiders. In just 15 minutes, you'll be inspired to build momentum through action and achieve incredible results. Welcome to Accelerate to Achieve, the podcast that moves you from question to answer and idea to execution.
Hello, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Accelerate to Achieve podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Walter, the founder of Parallels Advisory. Today, the spotlight is shining on our businesses. Have you ever heard someone say they are spending all their time working for their business when their hopes were the business works for them? Our guest today has definitely heard that more than once and has helped many attain maximum results while finding their optimal work-life balance. Now, I'm really happy to be joined by Mark Stile today, and he's a business therapist and founding principal of On the Mark Advisors. He helps business owners and entrepreneurs focus more strategically on their business and less technically in their business. His fresh insight and unbiased perspectives provides practical and best practice solutions to his clients' challenges. Mark, it is a pleasure having you with us here today.
Thank you, Ryan. It's a pleasure being here, and I'm honored to be on your show.
So I'd love to start with a little bit of scene setting for folks who may not have heard the term before. Can you tell us a little bit about what business therapy is and maybe how it's a little different from coaching and other professional services people may be familiar with?
Absolutely, Ryan. So yeah, a lot of people haven't heard of business therapy. It's a concept that I came up with. It's the integration of three distinct yet related disciplines, those being strategic advising, business coaching, and stress counseling, all woven into one holistic approach that revitalizes small businesses and their owners who may have gotten stuck somewhere on their success journey. And a key outcome of business therapy is similar to what you said earlier in the introduction. It's for the small business owner being able to invest more time on their business so that they can reduce time they're trapped in their business. You mentioned how it's different from coaching. Let me talk a little bit about that. Business therapy is different from coaching in that it's customized toward each individual business owner based on their strengths, talents, and interests, and how they can be aligned or, in many cases, realigned with their business strategies and daily activities to help achieve sustainable breakthrough performance. How it differs from coaching: many standard coaching methodologies and certifications are based on a specific X-step approach that many times is cookie cutter in nature. Many coaching methodologies have very specific and rigid approaches that I liken to, it's a hammer, and every client situation is treated as a nail. Now, I won't say all coaching methodologies are like that, but many are. And in the arena that I play in, which is the entrepreneur, solopreneur, most small business owners need to have that flexibility to be able to move on a dime and not be constrained by a rigid approach. So hopefully that helps with what business therapy is and the differentiation with a standard coaching approach.
No, it really does. And thank you for providing that clarity. And I think an obvious follow-up would be, how did you get here? What led you to this path?
Well, Ryan, I got to tell you, for 30 years, I like to say I slayed dragons in the corporate and startup world. I had served in senior roles for market-leading companies in a variety of industries. I even helped take two startups, one pre-revenue and one barely revenue, to market leadership positions in their industries. And all the while, I served in a multitude of functional roles that drive growth. including sales, marketing, business development, operations, finance, pricing, and even supply chain. And so I developed a general manager's perspective in a number of different industries, which and learned a lot of best practices and toolkits that could be applied to any business. During that time, I also developed a reputation among colleagues as being a good mentor and coach when it came to achieving results, building a team, or even getting a job promotion. After one of our sessions, people would frequently say to me, you ought to consider a second career in this. And that made me realize I had this gift. And when the time was right, I decided not just to make this a second career, but make it my first career. Voila, the business therapist.
So I think that you can see that path and how that all makes sense and how you can take all those pieces from your background and really weave them together into a very comprehensive solution offering. Why might someone then engage a business therapist or yourself?
So, Ryan, I'd say in most instances, it's a business owner who feels that they have reached a plateau or feels stuck along their success journey and really is looking for that final push over the goal line, if you will. In some cases, it can be someone starting up their own business and looking for guidance on their business model, their pricing, their targeting of what clients to target and their positioning. And along with that, encouragement that they're capable of making it a success. And it's the business coaching, triad, leg of the business therapy pillar. And they also could use an accountability partner to ensure that they're doing the right things consistently. And that's where I come in. Also, in a few cases, it's someone who may have worked with a coach for a while, and that coach is no longer providing the creative or inspirational spark that they once did. They kind of went through their trick, several trick pony, and then they're done. And I'd say lastly, it's someone who recognizes that their business majorly intersects with their lives and with their identity. And they want to ensure that there is alignment among each of these areas. And I can't tell you how important that is when you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, or a solopreneur, how often those areas of your life intersect, including, how your identity is wrapped up in these areas, particularly the success of your business. And that's where I love to play and have helped many a small business owner get from their point A to their point B.
I'd love to go a little deeper now into what a situation may look like when you are working with someone. So is there maybe an example of a use case or something that explains what an engagement might look like?
Yeah. I mean, how much time do we have, Ryan? So a good example, I have a client now who had a long, successful career leading a family business that unfortunately came to an abrupt end when the pandemic hit. So he engaged me. I helped him recognize what his strengths and energy centers were, which, you kind of lose track of when you're leading a company for a lot of years and it's same old, same old. I then helped him rebrand himself, establish a new business model, and develop a compelling value proposition, as well as identify his ideal target audience. And after a few months of going through this and taking assessments and understanding who he really was, he now has more interest in his services than he can handle. And he's actually turning away interested prospects who don't fit his target profile, but his business is a compelling one and is much needed in today's world. I'll also mention my very first client happened to be an acquaintance exploring how she could work a less killer schedule and still maintain her income as a solopreneur. I suggested that because she had established thought leadership in her industry and had a stellar reputation, that she try a recurring revenue model that leveraged this. And her response surprised me, which was, "Hey, that's the most brilliant idea I've ever heard." And she asked me on the spot to be her coach, which told me something, as I, wasn't really sure this was the direction I was going to head. But it made me realize I can make a business out of helping others get to their destination from where they are today. And since then, she's more than doubled her revenue, and she has a lot more free time than she's ever had before. So those are two examples. I mean, I can go on, but I don't know. I know you have a limited time here.
I would like to go, though, a little bit into the result in one case. And you talked about the goal being focusing strategically on your business versus tactically in it. What does it look like when you're shifting towards that, focusing strategically on that? And what's that impact for the business? What might someone come to expect, or what's different for them when they do reach that point?
A great question, Ryan. So what happens, let me set the stage here. What I find many business owners when they come to me, they are either overwhelmed, they're uncertain, they may be feeling an imposter syndrome of some sort, and they know that their business isn't reaching its full potential. And what we generally find out, again, this isn't every case, but I'm giving you a composite here, is that they're doing a lot of things for their business. They're a chief cook and bottle washer, if you will. And when we look at the time that they're spending on their business, a lot of it is administrative stuff. And it's not adding value to their business, but they feel like they're chained. They have to do these things. They're not energized. They're trudging, to work every day, doing things that they are not enjoying. And they're focused, and they as a result, they're focused very tactically on their business. What do I need to do today? What do I need to do to get through the day? Just get through the day and, live to the next day. And so when they're done, when we've accomplished what we've set out to do, through a process of assessments, of conversations, of really determining what the person's values are, what energizes them, where their North Star is, if you will. They then are at a point where they've taken all these activities that were de-energizing and really didn't contribute all that much to the business. They've either outsourced them, they've hired them away, or they've just completely gotten rid of these activities. And they're now doing activities that energize them and that they love doing and that play to their strengths. And as a result, when, think about this, if you're doing things you love to do and you're good at them and they're contributing to your business, you're much more likely to have a successful business and be happy in that business. And that's where I come in. I help get business owners back to that first day they started the business, when they were energized, when they were ready to change the world and were leaping out of bed every morning. I help them get back to that spot, from the spot that they've, landed in the months and years since they started the business. Does that make sense?
No, it definitely does. And I'd love to sort of put a bow on our entire session here by asking you this. Is there a mistake, or let's say a common issue you see businesses making? And is there some advice you might give around that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So probably the biggest mistake that I see in the small business world is that these small business owners don't realize how much value they are adding to their clients. And therefore, they're not pricing their services in an optimal way to realize that value. And that's a conversation that, sometimes a long conversation. And sometimes it involves, some encouragement about what their value is and what they're doing, and maybe an experiment or two. Hey, you know what? You've got a new prospect. why don't we look at the pricing and do something higher than you would normally do and see what happens. And it's really that baby step that ends up usually is successful and ends up being a revelation to the small business owner that, hey, I am worth more and people are willing to pay me for this. And the confidence boost that they get from that is incredible. And so I see that a lot. And it's really it's sort of like, the hardest part is taking that one baby step, diving off that board for the first time and saying, yes, I can charge higher and let's see how that works. I'd say probably one more, another mistake that I see is that the small business owner doesn't have a lot of time to organize their sales funnel properly, or follow a consistent selling process. Those who had been in sales before and started their own business, they generally know the value of that, but many others don't. And so that it's implementing it could be even a rudimentary CRM system and a process for going through the funnel and making sure that everyone's getting touched and nurtured and to the point where they're ready to buy from you. And I'd say the very last mistake that I see made a lot, and this is where a lot of people come to me after this mistake is done, they get sold a boilerplate, a non-custom bill of goods by slick consultants with maybe a big social media presence that ask for a lot of money up front. And, and then they realize, well, what did I just pay for? What am I getting here? Yeah, it's a great social media presence. They're great salespeople, but are they delivering on what they promised? And, and that's one of the reasons why my business model is very different from that. I don't charge a lot of money up front. I have enough confidence in what I do that, I have a monthly retainer, and, if you don't like it, or if you get your problem solved quickly, it's almost like a try and buy. You're not out a lot of money to start with saying, what did I do here? So, I've addressed that issue because I see so many small business owners that fall prey to that.
Mark, I really appreciate you joining today and introducing us to business therapy. Now, before we go, is there anything you would like to tell the audience for those interested in learning more?
Well, you can reach me. My website is onthemarkadvisors.com, at advisors with an O, and Mark, M-A-R-K, like my name. My email is M as in Mark, Style, S-T-Y-L-E, at onthemarkadvisors.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn under Mark Style if you search for my name, because I don't think anyone else on LinkedIn has my same name with that spelling.
Well, it's good to be one of a kind, I bet.
Yes, it is. And business therapy, and some, you can view that as being one of a kind as well. And I really appreciate you, having me on your show today, Ryan. I hope your audience is more enlightened as a result of this. And if they want to have a conversation with me, there's I pride myself on no hard sell, no obligation, free conversations. And one thing I will guarantee in that conversation is that I'll offer at least one good idea that can be implemented with very low cost, very low effort, and again, no obligation.
And we're going to include everything Mark has mentioned in the show notes as well, in case you didn't catch it all. And I hope you enjoyed this latest edition of our Spotlight series. Thank you so much for listening today, and I look forward to joining you on the next episode. Until then, I'm Ryan Walter, and remember that solving your biggest business problems begins when you decide to accelerate your approach and achieve more.
At Parallels Advisory, our focus is your business's future. Having the right insight, experience, and perspective makes all the difference when tackling far-reaching issues within your company. We are here to simplify the steps, unlock your potential, and move you forward, making your vision a reality. We've helped startups achieve massive growth, mid-sized businesses navigate digital transformation, and enterprises embrace innovation. Wondering how to jumpstart your business and move it forward? Contact us to discuss your audacious goals during a complimentary consultation. Thank you for listening to this episode of Accelerate to Achieve. If you're enjoying the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen. Got a question, feedback on the program, or interested in being a guest? Simply go to parels.co/A2A-podcast and send us a message. To learn more about our work or to book a consultation, visit us at parels.co/contact. Until next time, remember that solving your biggest business problems begin when you decide to accelerate your approach and achieve more.